at the time, we were still unsure of what to do. And as soon as that happened, I was like, all right, yeah, that's what we need to keep bringing on the road with us. It's like, Miles, what is that? It's the Midas. Okay, great. That's it. That's what we want. Hey, my name is Cory Wong. We are here in Manchester at the O2 Apollo, about to do a gig tonight. Very excited to be here. Really fun venue.
My name is Miles Hanson. I am the production manager and front of house engineer for Cory Wong.
Some of the challenges that I find going from show to show, whether it be a festival or whether we're playing different theaters, is the rooms are different. The stages are different. The audiences are different. It has historically been hard to get something consistent where we can just get up and go and not drain all of our energy by having to go through a rigorous sound check every day.
Just the different spaces and the different PAs, the acoustics, and trying to manage that with a band this size and with that many people and that much volume on stage, especially with horns, and they're pretty dynamic. It can be a bit of a challenge to go into acoustically difficult spaces to manage everything.
We have had a lot of different experiences with different consoles, different platforms of mixing and of mixing our monitors. Miles at front of house, and even some of my previous front of house engineers. We ran into a handful of different things. First off, compatibility. Second off, just like, what is the industry standard? What do you know you're gonna go into and be comfortable with? For me, I wanna go into somewhere where I know the gear, I trust the gear, I know it's an industry standard. You know, we've toured for years and years and years, and I remember, you know, even where I was cutting my teeth at Bunkers, this club in Minneapolis, we had the Midas analog console and then transferred over to the digital console. And you know, I've seen the M32 in pretty much every venue in the world, and it's something that you know you can trust. You know that people are familiar with it because it's one of the standards, and also it just sounds great.
The biggest thing walking in when I first started with him was consistency on stage and their comfortability on stage. So yeah, having that dialed in, they can just show up and they trust that it's going to be good. That makes the world of difference. Obviously, I'm running front of house. They are managing their own monitoring, which is an M32C in a rack on stage. And I'm providing the lines from that from the HD96. So what's most important would be making sure they're comfortable on stage with their monitoring consistently from day to day. Because with that many people, it can get exhausting if they have to start from scratch every day. So that has been a huge help. My live setup for this show is the HD96 in front of house, 2 cards, the KT AES50 and the KT USB card. So with the KT USB card, I'm able to multi-track every show because Cory creates so much content. He's so great at that, and so make sure to capture all that, and sound checks as well. And then with the KT AES50 card, that allows me to send my input channels back to the M32C on stage for them to monitor and control their own in-ear mix via tablets, and phones, things like that.
You know, as an artist, does the mixing console affect me? An easy answer would be no, because I'm in my lane on stage and Miles and my production team is all handling that. But I think the actual answer, if I'm really honest with myself, is yes, it's important, because if I don't have a level of trust of how things are going to sound or feel to the audience, I'm gonna second guess a lot of what I'm doing.
So our flight aids, we use the M32C, the DL32 going into our wireless ears transmitters, as well as our horn wireless. They fly in 2 Pelican cases. I can get to the festival show, set it up. It takes me 10 minutes maybe to patch everything in, and we can go in a matter of minutes. Being able to use the same console for every show is a new thing for me. It's amazing. I can have the same setup. It's all built in. I know exactly what is what. Don't have to deal with patching. I got to build it ahead of time as well, and it just saves me hours.
The path to where I am now started by playing bass guitar. I love the bass guitar. I wanted to play in a band so bad. It was like all I wanted to do as a kid. And then eventually started playing guitar. And then I wanted to record my band, so I begged my dad to get a little recording thing. It was like an all-in-one 8-channel recording thing onto a disc, and didn't really know at all what I was doing, but I had a couple microphones and it had a DI in, so I just plugged in and, oh, this is what panning is? Oh, it moves back and forth, and then volume, and then all these other effects that were built into it. It's kind of my start into being interested in audio and production in general, and then eventually started growing more, doing more and more, having my own bands, spending time in recording studios, and then I went to college for guitar. And I also took a bunch of music production classes while I was there, and then just really worked on a lot of records and worked in a lot of studio situations, which is what started what many would call an obsession with audio and music and how they blend and how they complement each other, how they work together to make something really great. And some people say that I'm a little overboard with my obsession with it, but I would say I'm particular because I care that much.
I've known Cory for about 12 years, maybe 15 years, from Minneapolis. I work at a recording studio there, so we cross paths with live shows and recording sessions, and that's kind of where it started. And I kept on asking him if he needed a front of house engineer at some point, just to let me know, and he got a hold of me about 2 years ago.
I've been using HD in the studio, and is it a different thing? Absolutely. The main reason being I was typically just running a couple mics into my Apollo and that sort of thing, and I still use the Apollo for certain things, but now having all of these channels right in front of me, having something tangible, having a desk that I can work on, I've actually never had that in my own studio. Of course, I've worked on plenty of different desks and consoles and studio situations, but with the HD rig, now there's a lot more of these automated things. I can save these presets on stuff, and I could just have a lot more control right at my fingertips rather than always being keyboard and mouse for everything. And it's nice to be able to run stuff on the way in, be able to change things in real time and just have it there. It's a big difference to have all that stuff. And there was a learning curve at first, but now I absolutely love being able to have all the control right there. My advice to people who want to do this thing is always have a never-ending pursuit for excellence in what you do, but don't let being the best be the thing that guides you. I think the thing that really stands out and why people will latch onto something is if it feels unique, if it feels special to that individual. And I know for myself and many of the other artists that I've been around that are really great, they found a way to use their influences and their life experience together to create an artistry that feels unique to them in the time period that they live, yet parts of it feeling timeless, and something where it really feels like this is my fingerprint, nobody else has.